everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Megan, and today I'm going to be doing a book review on my Oxford year, which is actually going to be premiering on Netflix on Friday. I don't really know where to start with this review because the beginning of the book was so good. The introduction of the characters, the scenery, the descriptions of the university and the locations. And then when I got to the middle of the book, I just don't even know what happened. The tone just changed in the second half. In the first half of the book, I really enjoyed the academia scenes, the intelligence, the relationships between the characters. I enjoyed the literature references where they would talk in quotes from different books and different authors, and then they would have to guess what is happening. And I felt like in the second half of the book they didn't have any of that. I know it focused on Jamie's sickness, but I just really loved just the interaction that Jamie even had with the students, and then specifically Ella, about the love of poetry and breaking it down and what it means and the feeling of love and what love is. And it was just so beautiful. And then it just kind of flattened in the second half, and I think with this illness and the focusing on Jamie and Ella's relationship, that it kind of took away from the rest of her academia experience. I was hoping that she would kind of go back to class and we would kind of get more of that environment, but we didn't. And that was kind of sad, because even though it's called my Oxford year, I feel like we got very little of her time at Oxford because of her relationship with Jamie and what's happening to him. And that, I don't know, just kind of hindered the rest of the academia experience. So I was just a little disappointed when we got midway through the book. I'm fine with the illness and everything, and it's just I just wish we got more of Oxford. I just feel like we got very little of it, and that made me sad. I felt with the academia scenes, we were learning about the romance of poetry and literature, and it just, I don't know, I just really liked it. There were so many different elements of the book that reminded me of other scenes in movies or TV shows that had this old romance writing. So the scene that I love, that is my favorite scene of the whole entire book, is when Jamie and Ella are in his office, sitting in front of the fireplace, and he is telling her about the assignment that he gave and her not doing what was asked. And her, I don't want to say necessarily breaking down, but she didn't really, he's I wanted it to be in a conversation that you were having with a friend. And he's I understand you're very good at writing and doing, different aspects of her job, because she's in the political realm for her career. But he's I want you to feel what is being written and what's being said. And so they're sitting there, and he has the book that he has his book, and he gives it to her, and he's read this out loud. So she reads it, and then I don't say necessarily doesn't understand it, but he knows she's not giving it her all. And I don't know if she is someone who's very vulnerable or not, but the vulnerability that he's trying to get out of her is just so powerful, the way that it's written. And I just absolutely love it. And then the chemistry with their eye contact, and then with him, the way he holds the book and the way he's facing her. And it was just such a beautiful moment. I hope that scene is in the movie, and I hope it's delivered well, but we'll see. That's just one of when you read a scene in a book and it's so well descripted and the dialogue is fantastic and you're getting something from that scene, and when it's being turned into a movie or TV show or some type of live action, it's just, those are just one of those things that grab out towards you that, I just can't wait. It's probably gonna be disappointing. It's probably not even gonna happen, because that's what happened with other books that I read, and then there were certain scenes that weren't even in the movie or TV show. So, but that is one of my favorite scenes, and it reminded me of the scene in the Prince and Me movie where Eddie teaches Paige how to digest Shakespeare. And the way that he simplifies it for her, and the way that Jamie talks about poetry to Ella, it was just so beautiful. That scene just reminded me of the scene in Prince and Me, where I take a step back and I was like, wow, this is like really beautiful. Like, I'm not really into like historical literature or classic literature. I like story, but like I'm not that much of an like English nerd to like, I didn't even know over half the people in this book that they were talking about. And so I just love those little like nuggets that make you critically think about, you know, what Jamie is saying or what Eddie is describing in the movie. And you are kind of Ella or Paige in that way, in terms of like you're trying to understand what they are saying to you. That's one of the things I love about teaching, is the critical thinking part of like working with students and helping them understand and think on their own to come up with an answer. And when they get it, it's just like, it's like the most amazing thing ever. So I don't know, I just was taken back by that scene. It reminded me of the Shakespeare scene, because that is such a good tool or a good way on how to teach the older language and just older readings where we don't necessarily use the vocabulary that they used centuries ago. And it was just a beautiful scene. Like, I literally hope that the office scene is in the movie. I really hope it is. And then there were other parts where Jamie and Ella were talking about, you know, poetry. I'm trying to think if it was a scene in the boat or not. There was a scene, but there was a scene in the book, and I don't remember which one it was, but it was one of the scenes where they were just talking deep about poetry and literature and why Jamie likes it, and I just loved everything he said. Like, it just felt so romantic, and he was just like so well knowledged about it. And I kind of give you a glimpse of maybe the British view of some of these artworks and this subject. There was a certain part in the book where they were talking about it that reminded me of the scene in National Treasure where Abigail and Ben are in the fitting rooms changing. And they talk a little bit about love there. And she says, people don't talk like that anymore. And Ben's like, well, they think that way. And then it just like a mic drop. Like, it's just, oh my gosh. It's like so true. Like, we wish people could talk like that of how they did or how they presented love back then. And even into like A Walk to Remember, where Jamie talks about sacrifice and suffering and this beauty of all of these things in life that represent love. Like, I don't know. I just kind of like geeked out at it. I just kind of geeked out at it, and I just wish the second half of the book had a little bit more of that, and it didn't. Like, it started off so strong. In the back half of the book, when Jamie talks to Ella about their plans of vacationing through Europe and him not possibly being strong enough to survive the whole entire trip, because they end up having to come back because he ends up passing out in the car while driving, which I don't know why she is expecting him to drive when he can become weak at any moment. So that, I don't know where that came from, but that was not written very well. But when they come back and he is in the hospital and he mentions something about finishing the trip, she like does not want to. I didn't realize how frustrated he was going to be afterwards because she did not finish that trip. I would have wished that she wrote it where she does go on the trip and finish Europe and tell his dad to not let him go yet, because he did end up in a coma for a period of time. And I just, oh man, the writing would have been great if she would have finished that trip and like recorded it, take photos, journaled, whatever. Because Jamie writes, they love English and literature, and oh man, it would have been so great if she went out on that trip and journaled, took pictures, whatever, and brought it back to him. And maybe he would have woken up and she could have shared with him the things that she discovered, because she had never traveled through Europe. Like, he grew up, you know, with money, and he's been to multiple places in Europe. So the fact that I feel like he would have loved hearing all the stories through her few weeks of travel. Like, that would have been so cool if he like woken up in Europe and she'd be like, oh my gosh, was day one, and I'm like, oh, I took a picture of this, like, this is, I just feel like he would have enjoyed that so much. And I feel if she would have told his dad that, even though his wishes were to, you know, not suffer or anything, but it would have been a great time to just like go on that adventure and listen to Jamie in that moment, and to do that and then come back. And if he wakens, and you can just tell him all about it. Like that, oh man, that would have been like so beautiful, because then he wouldn't have been so mad for her not going. And I know that they did go traveling in the end after he healed. We don't know if when he passed away. I'm assuming he did pass away at some point in time, because at the end of the novel she says, one of the things that I always loved, or one of the things I loved about Jamie was da 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 da. And then it went back to that moment after they were done at the hospital and they started their travels. But I just would have really loved how that changed. I really didn't like the moment either where she got so mad at Jamie for not telling her that he was sick. You guys had a friends with benefits relationship where you guys didn't really talk about anything personal. Like, all that stuff was not on the table, even though honesty was. But I feel like she shouldn't have gotten so mad in that moment. I really wanted to run up the stairs and gave him a hug. If someone I loved, even though I know they didn't say that they loved each other, but come on now, they loved each other. If I was like in love with someone like that and then I was tortured with a secret about them being sick, like I don't know, maybe I'm just so self-aware that I would just give them a hug. And so I didn't really like how she made him, I don't want to say suffer on the stairs, but like there's so many things you can be mad in that moment. But I'm like, you gotta take a little bit of responsibility because you agreed to the situation of the relationship that you were in. He didn't owe you anything by telling anything in his personal life. And you don't know anything to him in his personal life, so he lied to you once and you're gonna get mad about it. Like, I don't know. I just hope that part gets played out differently in the movie. Hopefully it's a little more calm and rational. Granted, she did make up for it after the Thanksgiving dinner. She realized what she did. But in that moment, knowing their characters and how mature and adult like they are, I understand that he's probably in his late 20s and she's in her mid 20s. But I thought she would have had the courage to be like, I need a moment to think this through and then like come back. So I think I was just shocked at her reaction. I mean, I probably would be, I obviously would be shocked. I would be speechless, to be honest with you. I'd be speechless if I found out someone that I was with that is now sick. So I wish that was a little played out better, but I just, yeah, I don't know. I just feel so about the book because like it just started off so great. I just really loved the academia part, and then obviously with him getting sick, all that stuff got pushed in the back seat. So I wish there was like more of a balance. I feel like it was just a completely different book in the second half. But I'm really excited to see the movie. I hope some of the things that I didn't like in the book is portrayed differently on screen. So I'm really hoping about that. I did rewatch the trailer after I watched the book, and it seems like some of the stuff in the movie looks quite different than what I just read in the book. So it'll be interesting to see what take they do on the book and what directions they take. That's it for my review on my Oxford year. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.